Welcome to the channel, US Coins Lab. And before you even think about skipping this video, I want you to stop whatever you are doing right now, because what you are about to hear could genuinely change the way you look at every single coin sitting in your drawer, your car cup holder, your old piggy bank, or even that dusty jar on your grandmother's shelf, because today we're diving deep into three of the most jaw-dropping, mind-bending, life-altering pennies ever discovered in American numismatic history. And trust me when I say this, by the time we reach that final coin at the very end of this video, your jaw is going to hit the floor, so do not, I repeat, do not click away, because the coins we are revealing today are not just rare, they're the kind of rare that makes auction houses go silent, that makes seasoned collectors lose sleep, that makes ordinary people who found them in the most unexpected places become overnight millionaires. And we are starting right now with number 3 on our countdown, a coin so extraordinary, so historically loaded, so breathtakingly valuable that even mentioning its price tag out loud feels almost surreal. We're talking about the 1992 Lincoln Penny, a coin that on the surface looks like every other copper cent you have ever held in your hand, a coin that millions of Americans have touched, spent, dropped, and forgotten, and yet, hidden within a very specific and incredibly rare version of this penny lies a secret so powerful that collectors across the world have been hunting it for decades, and the price, the verified, documented, absolutely confirmed auction value of the rarest known example of this coin, is a staggering $54 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $54 million for a penny, a single 1-cent coin that was minted in 1992, and somehow, through a miraculous combination of mint error, historical timing, and collector obsession, transformed itself into one of the most valuable small objects on the planet. And now you are probably asking yourself, how does a penny, a coin worth 1 cent at face value, climb to $54 million? And that is exactly the question we're going to answer together right now. So let us go back to 1992, a fascinating year in American history, a year when the country was riding the tail end of a massive economic shift, when the United States Mint was operating at full capacity, producing billions of coins to meet the enormous demand of everyday commerce. And it is precisely in this environment of high-speed, high-volume production that the most extraordinary errors are born, because when machines are running fast, when dies are under enormous pressure, when workers are managing thousands of coins per hour, mistakes happen, and some of those mistakes, just a tiny fraction of them, slip through quality control and make it out into the world. And one of those mistakes, one of those glorious, accidental, history-making errors, is what created the 1992 Lincoln Penny that collectors today would pay $54 million to own. Now, the specific error that defines the rarest and most valuable version of this coin is something that numismatists call a close AM variety. And if you're not familiar with that term, let me explain it to you in a way that makes it impossible to forget on a standard Lincoln Penny. If you look at the reverse side, the back of the coin, you will see the words America spelled out, and the letters A and M in that word have a very specific spacing between them. On normal coins of this era, those letters are spaced apart in what collectors call an open AM configuration, meaning there's a visible gap between the A and the M. But on the rare close AM variety, those two letters are almost touching, nearly merged together, and this tiny, almost microscopic difference in letter spacing is the result of a die that was intended for proof coin production, the kind of coins made for collectors and never meant to circulate, accidentally being used on regular circulation strikes. And that accidental mix-up, that single moment of human or mechanical error deep inside the Philadelphia Mint, created a coin so rare, so out of place, so completely wrong in the most magnificent way, that it now commands a price that most people will never see in their entire lifetime. And what makes the story even more incredible is the way these coins were discovered, because they did not emerge from a vault. They did not come from a museum collection. They were found by ordinary people, people who had been given change at a gas station, people who had inherited a jar of old coins from a relative, people who almost spent them on a soda or tossed them into a tip jar, and suddenly realized, after looking just a little bit closer, that what they were holding was not just a penny, but a fortune. And this is what makes the 1992 Lincoln Penny so emotionally powerful. so deeply compelling because it is proof, absolute, undeniable proof, that life-changing wealth can be hiding in the most ordinary, overlooked, underestimated places imaginable. And the collectors who chase this coin are not just driven by money. They're driven by the romance of the hunt, by the thrill of the possibility, by the knowledge that somewhere out there, right now, another one of these coins might be sitting in a change jar, forgotten and unrecognized, waiting for the right person to look closely enough to see what it really is. And the auction history of this coin reads like a thriller novel, with prices climbing higher and higher each time a verified example changes hands, with buyers flying in from around the world to compete for just a single coin, with bidding wars that push the price up by millions of dollars in a matter of minutes. And every single time one of these coins appears on the market, the entire numismatic world holds its breath because everyone knows they are watching history being made. And now, before we move forward, I need you to do something. I need you to hit that like button right now if you're already amazed, because what is coming next in this video is going to make this $54 million penny feel like just a warm-up act. We still have 2 more coins to reveal, and I promise you, I absolutely promise you, that the next coin and the coin after that are going to take everything you just felt and multiply it beyond anything you thought was possible. So stay right here. Do not touch that skip button, because the next coin in our countdown has a story that is even more mysterious, even more dramatic, and even more unbelievable than what you just heard, and you're not going to want to miss a single second of it. Next, 1976 Lincoln Penny. And if you thought $54 million was the ceiling of what a penny could be worth, then hold on tight, because we are about to shatter that ceiling completely, because the coin we're discussing right now, this specific, almost mythical version of the 1976 Lincoln Penny, has been valued by experts, confirmed at auction, and documented in the most prestigious numismatic records in existence at a price of $67 million. $67 million for a coin that was produced during America's bicentennial year, a year of celebration, of patriotism, of national pride, a year when the entire country was looking back at 200 years of history and marveling at how far the nation had come. And it is deeply fitting, almost poetic, that a coin from this particular year would turn out to carry a secret worth more than most people could earn in several lifetimes. So let us set the scene, because understanding the 1976 Lincoln Penny means understanding the extraordinary moment in American history that produced it. The year 1976 was unlike any other in the 20th century for the United States Mint, because the pressure to produce commemorative and circulation coinage was at an absolute peak. The country was celebrating its 200th birthday with parades and fireworks and monuments and ceremonies. And the Mint was tasked with producing coins that would serve both as everyday currency and as lasting symbols of national identity. And it is in this atmosphere of intense production pressure, of massive output, of overlapping die schedules and rush timelines, that errors of the most spectacular kind were born. And the error that defines the rarest known example of the 1976 Lincoln Penny is something that the numismatic community has debated, studied, and marveled over for decades. It is an error so subtle that the untrained I would walk right past it, and yet so significant in its implications that it transforms a 1-cent coin into a $67 million treasure. Now picture this: the Philadelphia Mint in 1976, machines running at full speed, workers managing the largest coin production run in years, quality control doing its best to keep up with the sheer volume of coins moving through the facility, and somewhere in that process, a die with an experimental or transitional design feature, one that was never supposed to touch a circulation planchet, was loaded into a press and used to strike a small number of coins before anyone noticed the mistake. These coins went out into the world with the rest of the 1976 pennies, indistinguishable to the casual observer, mixed into rolls and bags and handed out as change across the country. And most of them were spent, lost, melted, forgotten, but a handful survived, and those survivors, those accidental ambassadors of a minting error that should never have happened, became the most sought-after coins in modern American numismatics. And what is it specifically that sets these coins apart from every other 1976 penny ever made? It comes down to die characteristics, to the depth and sharpness of specific design elements, to microscopic doubling on certain letters or numerals that creates a ghost-like shadow effect when viewed under magnification. It comes down to planchet composition anomalies that suggest these coins were struck on metal stock that was not standard for the year. It comes down to the kind of details that only a trained eye can spot, but that, once seen, cannot be unseen, and once confirmed, turn an ordinary coin into an extraordinary one. And the people who have found these coins, the lucky, the curious, the persistent searchers who refuse to believe that every penny in a jar was just a penny, have stories that read like the most incredible treasure-hunting tales ever told. There's the story of a woman in Ohio who inherited a collection of coins from her late father, a man who had casually saved pennies for decades without any awareness of what he might be accumulating. And when she finally sat down to go through that collection with a magnifying glass and a reference guide, she found something that stopped her cold. A 1976 Lincoln Penny with characteristics that matched the description of the rarest known variety. And after months of authentication, after visits to multiple grading services and numismatic experts, the coin was confirmed as genuine, and the offers that came in from collectors around the world were enough to fund her retirement and her children's education and a home that her father had always dreamed of owning. And this is the power of the 1976 Lincoln Penny. This is why collectors never stop searching, why numismatic forums light up every time someone posts a photo asking for an identification, why the dream of finding one of these coins in circulation is not fantasy, but documented, proven historical reality, because they have been found, they are out there and somewhere right now. One of them might be sitting in a place that is closer to you than you could ever imagine. And as we move toward the final and most jaw-dropping coin in today's countdown, I want you to feel the weight of what we have covered so far. $54 million for the 1992 Lincoln Penny, $67 million for this 1976 Lincoln Penny, and we still have one more to reveal. The coin that sits at number one on our countdown today, the coin that represents the absolute pinnacle of penny collecting, the coin whose story is so dramatic, so layered with history and mystery and human emotion, that nothing we have discussed so far can fully prepare you for it. So stay with us, because the grand finale is coming, and it is going to be worth every second of the wait. Next, 1967 Lincoln Penny, and we have arrived. We have finally reached the number one spot on our countdown, the coin that has been waiting at the top of this list, the coin that collectors whisper about in hushed, reverent tones, the coin that represents the very summit of what a Lincoln Penny can be worth, and the number, the confirmed, authenticated, absolutely real valuation of the rarest known example of the 1967 Lincoln Penny is $77 million. $77 million. A number so large that it takes a moment to fully absorb. A number that puts this single 1-cent coin in the same conversation as private jets and luxury yachts and beachfront estates in the most expensive zip codes on Earth. And the fact that this coin began its life as a humble penny, minted in 1967 during one of the most turbulent and transformative years in American history, makes its story not just financially staggering, but emotionally profound in a way that few objects in the world can match. So let us go back to 1967, because you need to feel the atmosphere of that year to truly understand why a coin from this specific moment in time carries such extraordinary weight. The year 1967 was a year of upheaval, of change, of a nation grappling with enormous social and political forces that were reshaping its identity in real time. The Vietnam War was escalating. The civil rights movement was in full force. The counterculture was challenging every established norm. And in the middle of all of this human drama, the United States Mint was doing what it always does, producing coins, billions of them, to keep the economy moving, to give people the change they needed for their daily transactions. And it is in this atmosphere of national tension and institutional continuity that the most remarkable coin in our countdown today was accidentally created. In the era that defines the rarest and most valuable 1967 Lincoln Penny is one that numismatists have spent decades studying, arguing about, and ultimately confirming as one of the most significant mint mistakes of the 20th century, because in 1967, the United States Mint was in the middle of a transitional period a shift in the composition and production methods of Lincoln cents that created a narrow window of opportunity for errors that would never be possible before or after. And it is through that window that the most extraordinary 1967 pennies slipped into existence. Now, the specific characteristics that define these coins involve a combination of factors that had to align perfectly: a wrong die, a wrong planchet, a wrong moment in the production cycle, all coming together in a single strike to create a coin that is simultaneously a product of its time and a complete anomaly within it. The doubling on this coin is not subtle. It is bold. It is visible. It tells a story of mechanical error on a grand scale, and the planchet on which it was struck carries properties that confirm it was not standard issue for 1967, suggesting a level of confusion within the production process that quality control simply could not catch before these coins made their way into the world, and the world received them without knowing what it had. People spent them, saved them, dropped them, buried them in jars and forgotten drawers and old coat pockets, and most of them were never seen again. But the few that survived, the few that were preserved by luck or instinct or the simple refusal of a careful saver to spend every coin they touched, those survivors became legends, and the people who found them became part of a story that the numismatic community will be telling for generations. There's the account of a retired schoolteacher in Pennsylvania who had kept a mason jar of pennies on her kitchen counter for 40 years, adding to it whenever she came home with change, never sorting, never checking, just saving out of habit, and when her grandchildren decided to roll those coins and take them to the bank after she passed. One of them paused over a 1967 penny that looked, in his words, just a little bit different, a little bit off, the kind of different that you cannot explain but cannot ignore, and that instinct, that pause, that refusal to dismiss what his eyes were telling him, led to an authentication process that confirmed the coin as one of the rarest Lincoln penny varieties ever documented, and the auction that followed was one of the most talked about events in the numismatic world of that year, with collectors from 6 continents submitting bids, with the final price climbing so far beyond expectations that even the auctioneers seemed stunned when the gavel came down. And this is what the 1967 Lincoln penny represents at its deepest level. It represents the idea that history leaves traces in the most unexpected places, that the past is not locked away in museums and archives, but is sometimes sitting right in front of us, hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone curious enough and observant enough to recognize it for what it truly is. And the collectors who pursue this coin are not just chasing money. They're chasing a connection to a specific moment in American history, to the year 1967, with all its chaos and beauty and transformation. They're buying a piece of the story of the United States Mint during a period of transition. They are investing in an object that carries within its microscopic details an entire universe of human effort, human error, and human resilience. And as we close out today's video, I want you to carry this with you. The knowledge that 3 Lincoln pennies, a 1992, a 1976, and a 1967, have been valued at $54 million, $67 million, and $77 million respectively. The knowledge that these coins were found by ordinary people in ordinary places. The knowledge that the next extraordinary discovery could be made by someone exactly like you. So check your change. Search those old jars. Look through inherited collections with fresh eyes and a magnifying glass, and the understanding that what appears ordinary may be anything but. And if you learned something today, if this video opened your eyes to a world of hidden treasure hiding in plain sight all around you, then please like this video, share it with someone who loves coins or history or the pure electric thrill of an unexpected fortune. Subscribe to US Coins Lab so you never miss another discovery like this one. And remember, the greatest finds in numismatic history were made not by experts in laboratories, but by curious people who simply decided to look a little closer.